Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, January 28th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the watch list, first I want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering this evening, or depending on when you watch this, maybe you already missed it if you're watching this video on Friday morning, for example. But if you are interested in learning more about what you're seeing as I go through the video and you want to learn more about the tool and how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then I want you to get signed up for this free live online class. But with that being said, if you've missed it or maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening, then just go ahead and drop me an email, clay at claytrader.com, because the event will be recorded. So after the event's completed and it's been recorded and uploaded, I will send you a link to it. So like I said, if you already have something on your schedule or you just completely missed it because you're watching this on Friday morning, for example, then like I said, not a big deal. Just drop me an email and I'd be happy to send you a link to the recording. But I mean, if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up and I'll hopefully see you here in a few hours. Now, one quick clarification point. I am doing this when the market's still open, so that price is still changing, so you're not crazy. It's still moving, but I like to do these when the video or when the market's still open so that I can capture sometimes some really interesting live action play out right in front of us. But first one here, ticker symbol SPY, the overall market. So if you're new, this is just an exchange traded fund for that S&P 500, which is basically my long way of saying this is what's telling you what's going on with the overall market. And not a whole lot of things to report, assuming you've watched past videos, other than the fact of the power of charts. And I realize this will mean more to those of you that have watched past videos, but if you have, you've heard me talk about that pink line, the 200-day moving average, several times. I've talked about that being a level of resistance, and not patting myself on the back, but I'm certainly patting charts on the back, and why I would believe everybody should be using them, and why I'd invite you to get signed up for that class, because they really do work. They have a place in the markets, and like I said, 2 days in a row now, prices come up right around that pink line, rejected, and then once again today, made a move up, got up to that pink line, and then rejected back down. So the main area of resistance moving forward still remains, let's just call it at the 442 mark. And then as far as supports, nothing new here. Still down around 426, so nothing to change as the price is now just, basically getting in this little sideways channel here. And the big question mark moving forward is which way does it ultimately go? I think the odds are suggesting that it's going to make a break to the downside. Just seems as though there's a lot of downwards pressure, but no guarantees. But the point here being 442 main area of resistance, 426 main area of support. And now another quick clarification point. I have changed to using the 30-minute time frame. So the chart we just looked at was a daily time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks represented 1 day. But now we're on the 30-minute, meaning each one of these candlesticks represents 30 minutes worth of time. So just want to make that pointed out here. But next one, ticker symbol AMD, and a very, very, very rough day for this one. Started off somewhat decently as the price, acted like it maybe wanted to do something and then completely fell apart and basically fell apart for the remainder of the day. So the most interesting dynamic on this one is more so, where are some next potential areas where this thing could potentially bounce? And I realize the chart's getting harder to see here, but that just really goes to show that it has been several months since the price has been down around this area of the chart. In fact, there we go. There, and you can actually see where this line's coming from. But the next big, did I mention big area of support? Right there at 99.75. Look at the several times the price was down around that area. And to give credit where credit's due, each time the price did hold, does that mean that for sure the price is going to hold again? Of course not. No such thing as a guarantee. My point here is that 99.75 becomes a very plausible and logical area to think, okay, there very well could be a bounce from there. Once again, doesn't mean there will be a bounce, but it's not some sort of random area, given that the price has been down there and bounced off that area several times before. So if this nasty downwards pressure continues, 99.75 in my mind is the level that everybody's going to be watching. Next one here, AMC, and this should mean quite a bit to those of you that have watched past videos. Specifically to start things off, that purple line, I know I talk about it every day, and I know you're probably very annoyed by it, assuming you're long. But you got to keep talking about it. Check it out. This morning, made it an attempted bounce upwards, and right there is where it got rejected before going back down. And now the other issue here is that, and this is based on a foundation rule in charting, is that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So quite a while, 1550 had been doing a good job of acting as support. But as I alluded earlier in a previous video, if that level was broken, odds are probably was going to create some downwards pressure, and that's exactly what happened today as the price recovered down or moved back downwards. So if there is any sort of bounce, first key level at 1550, and the next key level of resistance up there, that 50-period moving average. And then the very, very, very important level from a support side of things, and this is not some sort of complicated reasoning, is right down there at $14.20. Why? That's just simply where the price went during that last very, very nasty drop before what had been a good solid bounce, but what is now proven to simply just be a dead cat bounce as it's rolled back over. But 14.20, if the price were to break below there, that would all of a sudden put the price at lows that have not been seen for literally months upon months upon months. So not saying that will happen, but just explaining why 14.20 is a very important level of support headed into Friday. Next one, FAMI, a penny stock here. So for those of you that like this price range, and what makes this very interesting is the fact that it's looking pretty rough right now, looking pretty ugly to think that at one point today, the price was all the way up there. And then since then has dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. But the reason why it's interesting is because even with the drop, even with the ugly nature of this pullback, look right where this green candle has started to form. Right there at the purple line there, which you now know is a 50-period moving average. Now, once again, to reiterate, just because these couple of dynamics have occurred, does that mean that for sure guaranteed this thing is skyrocketing back upwards? I'm not saying that. My point here is it now becomes valid. It now becomes plausible to say, okay, maybe this pullback is over, because when you combine that in with the fact that the trend line here, so let me get this into play here. So if I draw this trend line, you can see that the overall trend line is still holding strong too. So even with that pullback, and in fact, let me change that to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic of things. But even with that trend line and the pullback, the price does still have the chance to put a higher base. And you combine that with the fact that, the bounce is occurring around that purple line, which also happens to be basically that trend line and the green candle. Does that mean that it's going to, continue on up? No. But is it plausible? Absolutely. So keep an eye on that. From a resistance side of things, keep a close eye on that pink line there, the 200-period moving average, which is right up around there at the 23-cent mark. Next one, INDO. Very, very impressive mover today. Actually, just insane mover when you stop and think about the thing opened up down here about $3 and went up as high as essentially we'll call it $8.50 before pulling back. But what I like about it is just there's such a well-defined level. And the reason why I like well-defined levels, let me just get that mapped out. I assure you people around the world have taken notice of, let's call it $7.35. And I make that comment about people around the world because when a lot of people have noticed the same level and are going to be wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. And that's exactly what's going on here with that $7.30 or $7.30 mark, meaning if the price can return back upwards and get the break of it, then that could very well spur on quite a bit of additional buying pressure. Not guaranteed to happen, but again, it goes back to the idea of is it at least a plausible thought process to have? And that's why charts are so powerful, because they help you avoid just randomness. If you're just always in randomness as a trader, you're not trading, you're gambling. But when you're using charts, you can put yourselves in positions that, of course, aren't guaranteed to play out, but are at least a plausible and viable, logical thought process to have. So keep an eye on $7.30. And then as far as supports are concerned, have a bit of a uptrending trend line right there. So I'll change that to green. So that's an area where if you like to play more so pullbacks, keep a close eye on that. But I think the most interesting dynamic right up there at $7.30 as that key breakout point. Next one here, LCID, absolutely brutal day here. But within the brutality, there's a little miniature pattern here that's formed. So let me just get this pattern drawn up. We have the resistance line right there. We have the support line, or excuse me, the support line was right here. Then the other one was the resistance. But this is what is known as a little falling wedge, which is one of my favorite patterns out there. Now, you might think a falling wedge is a bearish pattern, and I don't know the history behind it. But no, actually, the falling wedge is a bullish pattern, whereas the rising wedge is a bearish pattern. But let me be very clear, just because something is a bullish pattern doesn't mean that the price is going to go up. My point here is that, this is an interesting pattern, and I'm certainly talking about things from a trading standpoint. So I'm not saying that if there is a bullish breakout here, then that means, okay, it's a great investment because this thing's going to go all the way back up to, $50. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about things from a trading standpoint. So if you are a trader, and if you do like to play falling wedge patterns, then you have a nice little interesting one here on LCID. So definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, ARDS. Yeah, it was great volume today. Yeah, it's in a price range that I know is popular with quite a few people. But going back to the talking point of self-fulfilling prophecy, that is the main reason why I'm doing this, because I can guarantee you that there are people around the world that have drawn that trend line. So I don't want to come across like that's some sort of great discovery on my part. It required a bunch of skill. The exact opposite. I assure you, people have drawn that trend line, even if they have, a surface deep understanding of charts, meaning we have that dynamic where, once again, if the price goes up there and breaks up through it, while nothing is guaranteed, it becomes a very plausible area to think, okay, that breakout point could cause quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. So if you do like to play breakouts, especially in this price range, that's a nice trend line to keep an eye on. If you prefer to play more so the pullbacks, then an interesting pullback area right down there around $1.85. But all in all, interesting setup, good volume today. And as the the price demonstrated earlier on, this thing can move pretty quickly when the volume hits it. So worth at least keeping an eye on if you like to play this price range and these sorts of patterns. Next one here, NIO, and things have just continued to get worse and worse for this one as it bleeds lower. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just get rid of this line here. Yeah, that's still a resistance up there at 23, but it's not really relevant anymore. I think the most relevant area to just keep an eye on now from a resistance standpoint is going to be that purple line there, which you now know is that 50 period moving average. So as time goes by, hence its name, moving average, this line's just going to move, move, move. So basically it's like a trend line that's drawing itself for you. So I like to call moving averages trend lines for lazy people, because if you don't feel like drawing it, that's fine. Just use this moving average as a quote-unquote trend line, and as long as the price stays down below there, then that is telling you that generally speaking, the overall trend remains bearish, meaning you could have upwards moves, right? There is an upwards move, but below the moving average, down it went, down it went, down it went. So you get the idea. So I'm not saying this thing can't bounce. I'm just saying I'd be skeptical until the price can not only get up to that purple line and then get above it and stay above it. Now, as far as levels of support are concerned, the next level that is getting closer and closer to coming into range, right down here, that green line, which I talked about in a previous video at $20.50. So keep a close eye on that. But at this point in time, I mean, I don't see why the price wouldn't go down to $20.50, but we'll have to see how things close out on Friday. Next one, SOFI, another brutal day for this one. Going to go ahead and do some house cleaning. And the big update here that I've talked about in past charts is this level of support at $12.50. Well, it's no longer a support because the price is broken below it. Therefore, it'd be considered an area of resistance. So keep an eye on that. Actually, now that I think about it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust this level down to this other area of support down there, because really 1185 is going to be the more so relevant level because it's just closer to the current price. So 1185 will be that first key level of resistance if there is any sort of type of bounce. And then, of course, we have that purple line there, the 50 period, which would be another area right around $12.60. So those will be the main levels if there is any sort of attempted bounce. As far as levels of support are concerned, oh, wow. Okay, well, let me look at this real quick. Yeah, we're basically at, I don't want to say all-time lows, but I'm glancing over on the daily chart. And on the daily chart, let's see what in fact, well, let's just change this to the daily time frame. So now we're going back to where each candle or stick represents a day. And wow, yeah, we're going way back here to when this thing first started trading back in December of 2020. Next key level right there at $10.75, which again is going back there to December of 2020. In other words, it has been years since the price has been down this low. Next one, TSLA Tesla had earnings today, and it was not a good day at all. In fact, basically closed at the low. I mean, maybe not the exact low, but very, very, very close. So a lot of updates need to be done. I'm going to go ahead and do some house cleaning. Yes, all these lines that I'm deleting are still relevant. They just don't really pertain to, or excuse me, they still do pertain to the chart. They're just not relevant right now. But the first level here, and then you know what I'm going to say here, this was a level of support, but now that the price is broken down below it, this 850-ish area would now be considered an area of resistance. So if there is any sort of attempted turnaround and move back to the upside, 850 is now going to be that first key level of resistance. As far as next potential areas of support are concerned, we're going to have another situation where I got to go to the daily time frame. Oh, just notice that. Wow, that was an area of, let's go to the daily time frame again. I didn't realize that these stocks had made moves that were, oh, okay, yeah, definitely need to be here. Okay, so everybody, and I mean everybody because everybody, even if you're a beginner, uses the 200-day moving average. Everybody's going to be watching $814, which is the value of that level. So without doubt, that's going to be the level that everybody's wondering about, rightfully so. So there's going to be a big old self-fulfilling prophecy attribute down around that area. We'll see if it can cause a bounce or not. If the price does break down through there, then the next key general level of support going to be down there right around the $775 mark. But yeah, 815, I said 814. Let's just call it 815. 815, that 200-day moving average is without doubt the level that everybody around the world is watching for Tesla, wondering, is it going to bounce or is the price just going to, crash down through it? So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, you want to learn more about this tool, how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be this evening, Thursday, January 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. But also, if you already have something on your schedule, or if it's too late and you've missed it, like I said, it will be recorded. So if you want a recording of it, just drop me an email to clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be glad to send you an email with a link to it. But again, it will be live, so it's got to first occur, get uploaded, and then I'll be able to send you an email after that. So as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these videos, please help me out with some basic feedback. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment below, say hi, give me an emoji, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos, and as long as I know people are enjoying, I will continue to put together these watch list videos. But again, hopefully I'll see you this evening, but if not and you can't make it, still just drop me an email and I'd be happy to send you a recording. But everybody take care, have a good one.